Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to the Blue Corner into a Card from Vanguard deck profile. That's right, I still play this game, as I've actually been able to go to my last couple of locals, so yeah, I've kind of been I'm kind of motivated to post a little bit of content on it, so what I got for now is a profile of what I played on my last locals, because the other decks I have, Zorga and Minerva, they were alright, but I like this deck more compared to them. Well, mind you, Minerva's pretty sweet. Like, I've always liked that deck, and that'll probably be the next one profile I do, but I took Gandeeva to my recent locals, and so I have this all assembled and ready to go, and yeah, I'm just going to go over my list. Gandeeva is a fairly straightforward deck. There isn't a whole lot of room, I think, as far as, like, making, like, super spicy text and whatnot. It's just a matter of, do you have some stuff, do you not have some stuff? Were you able to get a hold of some stuff before they eventually went up in price, because that's how Vanguard is when it comes to its staples. You basically have to get them as soon as possible, otherwise they just bloat in price and you're pretty much screwed, i.e. Forbid All Surrogate. I didn't get it when it first came out, and now it's $100+ Canadian. Ugh, stupid. Anyway, so yeah, this is Gandeeva. Gandeeva is basically the fusion between Kagero and Narukami that I've always wanted to see. It's got the removal and the power of Kagero, but it's also got the aggro and combo-like potential of Naru's. Like imagine if Vanquisher and Blade Master did the fusion dance. That's this deck. It also helps that Gandeeva himself looks like he's a long-lost son of Thungary. So, bonus points for that. So, yeah. Now, what is the gimmick of this deck? It is a aggro control deck with a focus on field removal. It's very good at blowing up cards on the board, much like Eugene, but unlike Eugene, there's actual good payoff towards it. You have multi-attack, you have power, and you have card draw. That last part being very important, because one of the issues that Naras have had in the past is that you weren't able to recoup the cards you were committing to the board, whereas this deck is able to draw cards while also pop in the field, much like later Blade Master. So, yeah, I'll just go over my current list and talk about some stuff along the way. Now, as far as the brand line goes, I'm playing the Grade 0 and the Grade 1 of the Saga rod line. The Grade 1 allows you to get to the sword, and then you can ditch the sword for your ride line or perfect guards. And then I'm playing the Gandeeva Grade 2 and Grade 3. The Grade 2 gives Gandeeva's axe skill a free counterblast for the turn you ride it, so a potential free pop 3. And then he's a Scarlet Flame named Vanguard, which is important because the promo card that you have for this deck cares about Scarlet Flame names and not Gandeeva. And then Gandeeva himself is a pretty strong unit. Every time you retire opponent's rear guard during your turn, you can bind a card from your drop zone face down. This is relevant because if Gandeeva buffs your front row by 2k for every face down bound card you have, and if you have 5 or more, he himself gets a crit. So, yeah, you have big columns. Your Vanguard gets a crit 2, and then you just bash your opponent's face in until they're dead, run out of cards, or you're dead. And his other last turn effect is, once per turn, you can choose 5 rear guards your opponent controls with different grades. Yeah, that is indeed a thing. And then you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and then if any of those 5 revealed cards matches the grades of the cards revealed, you pop them. And if you pop 1 or less card through this ability, you draw a card and bind a card from your drop zone face down. So you can see how, like, things kind of get rolling fairly quickly. Gandeeva has the potential to pop 2 to 3 cards a turn, so you're binding 2 to 3 cards a turn with his own ability, which makes your front row bigger and bigger. Add in things like Persona Ride, front triggers, and sometimes your opponent just cannot guard all of your attacks consecutively. Plus, this deck has multi-attack. Then, for the main deck, the Saga order I'm playing, I like the sword because that was the Pokemon version I picked up. Then for the remaining Grade 3s, 3 more copies of Gandeeva because Persona Riding is obviously very good. 4 copies of Bravolden. He counts as a Grade 1 and 2 when revealed off of Gandeeva's ability, which is great for helping you clear the board. And then when he attacks a Vanguard, and you have a Gandeeva Vanguard, and your opponent's at Grade 3, I believe. No, it's just when you have if you attack a Vanguard. He can bind a card from your hand face down to draw a card. To choose one of your opponent's rear guards and kill it, and if you don't, you draw and bind one face down. And that's a pretty that's the thing you're going to notice immediately, is like all of your removal effects have the added bonus of, if you can't retire anything, you draw a card and bind a card from your drop zone face down. So, unlike Vanquisher in the past, where if your opponent had nothing to bind, you were hosed and couldn't build up your Thunderstrike, this deck actually doesn't mind your opponent having no board, because then you're just breaking even and drawing cards and keeping your hand topped up. That being said, this guy is good, but this card's even better. When he's placed, you Soul Blast one and bind another rear guard to do the same thing. So he accelerates your bind zone by 2, which is really great for getting to that 5 cards from bind. And part of what made this deck such a terror back in the day was that if you opened with multiples of these, you could get the 5 cards bound before your opponent got to grade 3 and potentially just bash their face in right from there. And as a result, he's now limited on the ban list. That being said, I think now you could probably... they could possibly take this guy off the list from at least 1 copy to maybe 2. Because like Gandeeva is nowhere near as powerful as it used to be. And I think Power Creep has also managed to catch a lot of decks up to this deck's level of firepower. And then rounding out the grade 3s, 3 of the order originally for Eugene, but Gandeeva just uses better now, Best Harvest. You play it and give your Vanguard the ability of drawing cards every time you retire your opponent's rear guard, which is, yeah, being able to just draw lots of cards off of wiping their board is insane. I've sometimes drawn 4 to 5 cards in a turn. Then for the grade 2s, 4 copies of your multi-attacker, Alpha Car. If your Gandeeva attacks, you can bind this guy face down to look at the top 5 cards and call a unit from among them to rearguard circle. So yeah, it's multi-attacking extender in a deck that already hits with big power lanes. It's kind of like how you could go Jaggy Shot Dragoon, bind Shatra, call Shatra, and then swing while swinging with Vanquisher. And then 4 copies of Rugant. He's just on place, combos 1, retire, otherwise draw and bind. And 3 copies of Iron Bolt Bremer Dragon, who, if he attacks and you have a Scarlet Flame Vanguard, he gets plus 5k, and then at the end of that battle, you can combos 1, retire him to retire something or draw bind otherwise. Yeah, your engine is just basically a lot of retire or draw bind, retire or draw bind. I am playing at least 1 set of generics, which is the Triple Bird grade 2 Cycler card. So if you discard it for your ride phase, you can Soul Blast, bot deck it to draw a card, and if he's placed on Rearguard Circle the turn of Persona Ride, I can combos 1 to pop a column. I needed to find fitting 4 cards with the ride with the main deck bump, so those went in. I was already playing 2 of it to begin with. Grade 1s, 3 copies of the Countercharger. If your Gandeeva Vanguard attacks and he's in the back row, you can bind him face down to countercharge 1, as long as you have 3 or more cards in bind zone. Yeah, the fact that this deck has inherent countercharging is really nice in case your opponent tries to damage deny you. Then 3 PGs and the Order PG, because Stride decks, we have them around here. At least we have 1 Jet player and 2 Shiranu players and 1 Luard player. And for the triggers, I'm playing 7 crits, 2 vanilla heals, 2 of the crit plus crit gainer heal. So if your opponent's unit attacks when you Garba this thing and its critical is 2 or more via an ability, but not a trigger, then it gets plus 15 shield. We've got a couple decks running around that get bonus crits, like Gandeeva itself, Heroes, Luard. So this comes up. The Dragon Empire Overtrigger, I think this is still the best choice for most Empire decks. Being able to restand your Vanguard and get more drive checks is pretty nice. Then 2 draws in 2 fronts. I'm a bit iffy on going on more draws just because this deck draws a lot on its own, and I'm a bit fearful of deck out, but maybe that's something I don't have to worry about if we keep playing at the pace that we are currently in, faster decks and whatnot. But yeah, I do like the fact that fronts can make my front row that's already large even larger, and the fact that the front is a 20k shield in a pinch is also very nice to have. And that's pretty much it for the deck in of itself. Like I said, this deck is a happy little fusion of Blade Master and Vanquisher, and while looking like the long lost son of Dungry. And yeah, I'm glad they made this. Like, it being a once top deck aside, I just think this deck's really fun to play. Like it reminds me of some older Vanguard decks. Like it kind of reminds me of Dungaree in Zero when we got Unlimited, and Vanquisher, Blade Master, and it's looking like that they're going to continue supporting Gandeeva because he's got a couple cards already confirmed in set 2. Set 1, I don't know what if there's anything from there I really need. I have to look over that set list again. I know like Gandeeva's engine itself doesn't really care a whole lot about the Energy Blast mechanic, so at least as far as set 1 format goes, I'll probably just like use the Energy Blast 7 to draw a card, or maybe I'll play the triple rare Energy Cycler. Being able to Energy Blast 3 for a draw on guard's pretty nice. I forget if it does something else. Because, like, Gandeeva's Soul is pretty free. Like, aside from using the Bob Sagra starter to search the sword or the shield, the rest of your soul is literally whatever. So, like, that's why the soul, these shufflers I have right now are pretty nice. Because I can just soul blast cards away. And being able to blast cards to bind for Gandeeva is nice. Counterblast, though, is a little bit more of a important resource because you have the counter. I'm playing only 3 counter charges. I could probably bump up to 4. But like Gandeeva costs a counterblast, my multi-attackers cost a counterblast, and most of my retires are counterblasts, which is Stigurna being hit is a oof in that regard too, because I had the soul and the counterblasts to do a lot of pops in one turn, and now it's not the same. But they are printing cards that do enable Gandeeva a bit more in a follow-up set. And I do believe there's also a card... no, that's more of a Vermilion card, never mind. But, yeah, the deck, I feel, is still pretty good. It's nowhere near as high as it was before. Like, I'd say it's a solid B-tier deck. Like, this deck, I think, will never be awful, especially as long as it has access to Best Harvest, because being able to plus a billion off of negging your opponent's board is really powerful. And until they choice restrict that, I think that you can still do something with this deck. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, this is Boostar899, jacking out.